A former Auburn Tiger is changing the game when it comes to NIL and also has opinions on Auburn's pass rush this season.
You are Locked On Auburn, your daily podcast on the Auburn Tigers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Yes, welcome on into Locked On Auburn, your daily Auburn Tigers podcast. I'm your host, Zac Blackerby. Thank you so much for making Locked On Auburn your first or second listen every single day. It's a happy hour edition of the show. We're joined by former Auburn Buck linebacker, Jack linebacker, technically when he played, Elijah McAllister, chiming in on NIL and, of course, what he thinks of the Tigers entering the 2024 season. Former Auburn Tiger Elijah McAllister with the NIL Firm, which is a super exciting thing. We were talking just before we clicked record, Elijah, but man, you've got some really cool things on your plate right now.
Yeah. Thank you for having me on the show, and I appreciate you allowing me to utilize this platform to continue to push and protect athletes.
Yeah, so tell us about it. I mean, you've lived this life. You've lived this first wave of NIL being, legal for college athletes. And now you're looking to make it a cleaner process, a safer process for the college athletes that are going through it now.
Yeah, I mean, it's something that's been on my heart for years. If anybody listening to this knows me or knows of me, I've always been a person that enjoys the elevation and protection of athletes. And this is no different. I've been in a unique spot, regardless of the schools that I've been to be in leadership positions, I think because of the heart that I have and also the emphasis I have on protecting my teammates and athletes. And this is why I decided to start the NIL Firm. It's something that I was fortunate enough to have a cousin graduated from Rutgers Law School a few years back and helped navigate the NIL space with me, with contract reviews, with tax education, with understanding what language was in the contracts and also the things that the company wanted from me in exchange for my name, image, likeness. And a lot of times, particularly with different athletes coming from upbringings or, sports who have a high revenue share, they don't have the education, they don't have the understanding of what needs to be done for them to receive that compensation or really what contract languages, are about. And the unique spot that I'm in is, outside source agents, third parties, they've never been in the NIL space, so they don't know it. They're speaking from different experiences. I've actually been in a space and I know what it needs and I know what's going to be beneficial for athletes. So that's why I decided to start it.
So do athletes now reach out to the NIL Firm directly? What does that process look like as far as athletes using you guys?
Yeah, so right now, a quick follow on Instagram at the NIL Firm is important. And then for us, we're really trying to be invite only. And it's an exclusive group to kind of, apply for. So you can apply through our website and we'll navigate that. But at the end of the day for us, particularly for me, where my heart is to protect athletes. I want athletes to grow and have an understanding of contract reviews, tax education, financial literacy, which will ultimately help them smoothly transition not only to life after football, but just understanding the space within their sport while they're playing as well. Because you and I both know we hear different stories about different athletes coming back to their school and being frustrated with, not having the information or being frustrated or not getting the money they were promised or different stories we hear. And for me as an advocate for the athlete, also an advocate for the university, I want that relationship to always be great. I want that relationship to always be on the uptick and not any friction. So this is a gap that needs to be bridged, and I'm here to bridge it.
Yeah, I would also think it would protect both sides too. I mean, because every year until this becomes normal throughout college athletics is these rules are going to change, and just having somebody represent you that's on top of it protects your eligibility. I think that's a huge aspect too.
Yeah, exactly. And not someone that's a third party who's never been in the space and is going to take a boatload of your money like some agents are, which I, had a uncomfortable kind of relationship with third party agents because I'm a person who likes to not own myself, but I'm a person who likes to understand and navigate the spaces that I occupy, which is why, like you said, I think it's important to know that this space is ever changing, ever growing, and someone who knows the space has been in it and also has aspirations to continue to learn about the space, be an advocate for not only the athlete, but also the university. I think it helps all parties and not create this friction or not create this divide, which in some places in some spaces it can be.
Yeah, sure. So give us an update on the football side of things. Sounds like you're working out. Sounds like a position change maybe in the future. Give us an update on that.
Yeah, so football, I've been playing football since I was 6, so it's always been my dream to be a professional athlete, professional football player. The other things that I do, I'm always passionate about, but at the end of the day, I really want to be able to fulfill my dream in playing professionally. And I've had a lot of good conversations with some NFL personnel, some workouts, and right now the feedback I've been getting, just to put some weight on and make a full-time transition to defensive end, defensive line. I played more outside linebacker here, stand up. This past year, I played that majority of my career, but as you guys know, I look a lot different than the outside linebackers that are on our roster right now. I'm 6'6", 275. I'm pretty big. I can move well enough at my size, but it'll be more advantageous for me in teams if I can gain some weight and still move at the same speed. So right now, this past month, I've just been gaining, packing on the weight, getting up to about 288 right now from 275 during the season, and just working out and training. I got some more tryouts here coming up the third week of July.
Well, yeah, we all wish you the best of luck with all that. No question about it. So you kind of hinted at it, but obviously it's a different defense. It's a different defensive coordinator than what you played under at Auburn last year, what Durkin has brought in. But I mean, it seems like when they're doing indie drills and practice and grouping all those, they're putting the defensive ends and the buck ends together. Is that unique? Is that just a defensive coordinator thing? What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think it's unique. I think anytime, you want to be able to group guys together in a way where the language is the same for learning. And it's usually easier to communicate from the back end down versus the front and back. So it's easy to get those guys all in the same meeting room and sharing the same language and learning each other. And then if you ever transition somebody down, they can kind of learn defense and be more comfortable in it that way. So I think that's, basically the thought process behind it, and also just understanding, like making sure everybody's on the same page. It's definitely a unique kind of deal, and it's different, but I think it'll be beneficial for them in the future.
Yeah, I mean, who are some of these guys in this room that you think, okay, they're going to kind of carry Auburn's pass rush this upcoming season? A lot of big names with Keldrick and some of these really impressive, freshmen that are coming in. But I mean, who kind of do you think, okay, when we're watching Auburn on third and long situations this fall, you better watch for this guy?
Yeah, I mean, obviously Jaylen McLeod is the answer that everybody's looking for, and he's somebody that's going to, continue to lead this defense and have a successful year. And I think overall, from just watching and knowing, the speed of the defense is different. The maniacal pursuit that is shown and seen, and just it's a wow factor. And I think, obviously Jaylen's a very quick, very athletic pass rusher, and Keldrick as well for his size. So those two guys are obviously going to be super, critical to pass rushing on third downs. But I think you'll see a lot more guys getting involved because of the style of defense that they'll play with now, pursuit and speed. You'll see a lot of guys get some sack numbers this year.
More with Elijah McAllister in just a moment, right here on Locked On Auburn. Today's show is brought to you by our friends at Game Time. Game Time is the best place to buy tickets, whether it's for sports, whether it's for the theater, whether it's a concert, it doesn't matter. Game Time has you covered with killer last-minute deals, all-in prices, views from your seat, and their lowest price guarantee. Game Time takes the guesswork out of buying MLB tickets or tickets really for anything. They've got flash deals. You can save even more with the exclusive in-app deals on select seats ahead of the game or event. You got to check it out. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest prices guaranteed. Yeah, I mean, we saw Jaylen get more and more comfortable and more integrated with the defense over the course of the season. How much of that was maybe an injury he was nursing towards the start of the year? We heard things about his ankle versus, okay, he's coming from, the group of five and then ascending to the power five, and specifically the SEC. It probably took a little bit to kind of get his feet up under him. I mean, was it both of those things? Was it one more than the other? What do you think?
To be honest, it wasn't the learning curve from coming from the Power Five to the SEC, because we've seen what he could do in practice and the plays that he made. no matter what division you play in, no matter what school you come from, a ball player is a ball player. You saw his Texas A&M tape. Previously, we saw what he could do in practice. I think it's more so just coming, back healthy, and just being himself, like with full health, which helps. And also, a lot of people don't think or really know this about pass rush. The pass rush is whether you rush 4, 5, 3. It's not an individual thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
So pass rush is very uniquely like all in unison. Like everybody has to rush together in order for somebody to be successful. So that's why you can see his pressure rate high, but maybe his sack numbers aren't there because the unit isn't rushing together. And not to pat myself on the back, but we're two totally different rushers, and I rush with more power.
Yeah.
Okay, so with me on the opposite side, transitioning the last 6 or 7 games rushing with strictly power and keeping the quarterback in the cage allowed him to as well open up and rush with speed on the outside and be successful and not have to rush by thinking, right? Because he knows he has protection because the quarterback's in the cage. So a lot of times I think, it wasn't the learning curve. It was more so him getting healthy and also us rushing together as a unit so that he can really showcase his talents and just go win.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's super interesting. So, I mean, I guess it's going to be McLeod on one side and Falk on the other. I mean, do you think they kind of have a similar relationship, or will they do things differently than the way you and Jaylen did?
Yeah, I think they'll have a similar relationship. And also, I think Keldrick's game will take the next step. It was already at a high level last year, but the flashes that he's shown on tape and coming in year 2, he'll be a force to be reckoned with. And now those two can rush together at a high level and kind of go win their one-on-ones, in a way where they can balance off each other, right? Keldrick's a bigger body, so he'll still bring that speed to power aspect to the pass rush, which in turn will help Jaylen be able to use all his moves and athleticism, to his advantage. So that relationship would be unique and similar to what we had, but way better because Keldrick is a high-level pass rusher, high-level football player, which as you guys already know.
Have you been able to watch any of the new guy, Kieron Crawford, who came from Arkansas State? Have you been able to watch him at all?
I have not been able to watch him in person, but from what I know and what I see, he's an athletic guy. He's a guy that can also rush the passer. I think anytime you get recruited to come in and play here, there's many things expected of you, and you have to have a certain talent level to be here, to represent this uniform and represent this university, and he has that. And I'm just excited for him to get in the workouts and really kind of showcase his stuff.
A guy that I assume you went against a lot, Xavier Miller, Tutal Miller. I mean, I didn't expect him to be a starter this time a year ago. If you would have told me, hey, going to the fall, he's going to be so good, they got to move Gunnar Britton to guard. Obviously that happened. And, he was kind of everybody told me he's raw, but man, he could be so good once he figures it out. And he got better throughout the course of the season. What are you expecting from Auburn's right tackle, Tutal Miller, this year?
I'm excited about Tutal, just like you always talked about, man. He just talked about he's raw. He's a guy coming in when I came in and he came in the same time, just learning how to utilize his body, learning how to really become a high-level pass blocker and high-level tackle. But he has all the physical traits, which is why I think as the season grew, he got better. He has longer arms than me, and I got a 7'1" wingspan. So he is super long, super athletic. And he's a guy who continues to ascend and continues to grow as a football player, and it'll help, Auburn in the long run. But yeah, I'm excited for him just because I know he has those reps under his belt from this past year. So I'm just thinking like the jump that he made from week 1 to the last week of the year, and the jump he can make from just having those reps under his belt in the spring and coming in now.
So, I mean, you've always been tied to leadership positions, like you were talking about when we were discussing the NIL firm a few minutes ago. Who'd you hand the keys off to on the defensive side of the ball? Was it Eugene? Was it somebody, in the defensive back room? I mean, who do you think is going to be the leader, both vocally and just, from just natural, I think, personality, I guess, God-given personality and gifts? Who do you think who's going to be the leader of this defense?
I mean, everybody has different leadership styles. I think, Eugene has a unique way of being a vocal leader, but also bringing energy on a consistent basis. So I think that will be his pocket of leadership and his way to not only engage the team, the defense with energy, but engage the crowd as well and the fans. So he has that, kind of leadership style, and he has that, leadership, quality that some people don't have, this charisma. He's learned a ton, just from us, having conversations in our leadership groups and just really learning. I think he'll be an important leader for this defense. I think Keontae Scott as well will be important.
Sure.
Just having playing a ton of football, playing football at a high level and also being really talented and leading the younger DBs, he'll be important from a leadership standpoint. And I think Keldrick as well. Keldrick, has shown great leadership qualities as a freshman. His maturity level, his will to be great, his calm temperament. I don't know if you've ever really been around Keldrick, because his calming spirit, calming temperament about him that gives everybody a sense of confidence. Like, okay, this freshman is not really wild by anything. He's going in the game with this cool, calm, and collected vibe. I can do it too. So he'll be important as well. So those three, and then as well as Keldrick just being able to just bridge that gap from the old to the new, right? Like, he's a young guy, but he's also been around a lot of older guys. He's played a ton of football, but also he's not too far removed from being a freshman, and he's still young in age, so he's able to have that. So those three guys would be very important to leadership for this defense this coming year.
Yeah. Elijah, thank you so much for your time. As always, plug the NIL Firm one more time as we wrap up, man.
Yeah, just follow us on Instagram at the NIL Firm, and check out our website. If you're an athlete, whether that's college or even now the NIL's going into high school. If you're a high school athlete learning about the NIL space and want to learn more information, just follow the NIL Firm, or even just check me out if you got any questions at E_McAllister1. As always, I appreciate you having me on the show. It's been great. And to the fans and everybody, War Eagle, let's continue to just elevate the world.
Yep, absolutely. War Eagle to that. Please like the video. Please subscribe. We'll see you tomorrow. This has been Locked On Auburn.